Here's a quick recap of today's price action. So coming into the day, I had a neutral bias, but I was leaning bullish. The only reason I was somewhat bearish was short term to this intermediate low, as I wanted to see this get swept prior to looking for continuation longs. You can see that we are also currently respecting high time frame bearish PDAs and starting to disrespect high time frame bullish PDAs. Therefore, I want to see an objective get met sell side wise prior to looking for buy side. Now, right at market open, we end up going higher, putting in a bearish SMT where ES has now tapped a 30-minute bearish fair value gap, and we still have this intermediate term low intact. Therefore, if you took this 1 minute long, I am really not a fan of it whatsoever. Although we've swept Asia and London lows and then have this internal manipulation leg, ES has already taken your DOL. You are targeting high resistance on ES, and also you can see that we are just about 9 points away from this intermediate term low, which is clearly the draw on liquidity. And as you can see, this setup ends up failing. I was actually open to looking for a short position here, but unfortunately, we just did not have a high time frame gap to be sponsoring a move lower, but I really just thought that the DOL was very clear to this intermediate term low. You can see that this plays out, and then you are presented with a 30-second inversion right here after sweeping the ITL. I think that this is a much better setup than the previous 1 minute long, because now we have swept our sell side draw on liquidity. The only reason as to why I faded this setup is because if we take a look on ES here, you can see that ES is not showing any signs of distribution yet. You can see that it is still not showing intent higher here. Therefore, I ended up sitting on my hands and just waiting for more confirmation. And once again, this setup ends up failing. We then remanipulate, and then we get this beautiful inversion right here. You can see that this ends up closing very high in the range. So what I ended up doing was waiting for a gap tap here. And once we got that gap tap, I took a position long, stop loss at the swing low. And all I was doing was aiming for a 1-to-1, planning on going break even at these relative equal highs. As you can see, I ended up sitting in this trade for a very long time. This is why you do not close manually or use a body close, because your stop loss, the swing low, is what's protected, not some random place on the chart, such as a body close. You can see that I ended up getting very close to getting stopped out, and then we ended up putting a bearish SMT with ES taking my full DOL. Therefore, I went break even right here, got stopped at break even, and as you can see, this does end up preventing me from an unnecessary loss here. Eventually, it just was chopping around forever, but... So once again, a very unfortunate break-even day. That's just what April has come down to. Apparently, I do think that these first longs were very avoidable. The second one was a little harder to avoid, but as I said, the only reason as to why I faded it was because of ES just not really showing any intent whatsoever. Therefore, I just wanted to wait for a little more confirmation prior to taking a long. I definitely do think that the second was a lot better than the first, and then I think that this third is definitely the best setup of the day. So I hope you guys learned something from the video, and drop a comment below and let me know how your trading day was.